Hey guys, this is my second run on Act 3 Chapter 9.1. The run here is more a counter strategy run featuring the usual combo of Auron and Reno. I did try a little bit on using an Auron and Reno duo, and I think it is very possible to do it with that party, but it is much more challenging and a bit less consistent, mainly because of the debuffs that the minion can land on Auron, and with two party members it's extremely difficult to evade the debuffs for a long period of time. You can use something like a Lena call or use a few call abilities to load up frame buffs on Auron, but that will eventually run out and you run the risk of the call landing confusion or paralysis on Auron, which will negate his ability to counter attack and to protect Reno. So with that said, I decided to try to add in a third character. In this case I chose Freya, but the third character is really very flexible. You can use a wide variety of characters. Having 3 characters makes the run, or at least makes this strategy much more consistent, and therefore I think it's more recommended to try it with 3 party members. I went with Freya in the end, partly because I was thinking with Freya jumping in the air and using Lancet, at least she provides a form of often heals to the party in case Reno happens to take a little bit of HP damage along the way. This also means that I could use a third call ability, and therefore it's easier to load up 6 framed buffs on Auron to avoid the debuffs. For the most part, this fight is pretty straightforward with this strategy. Essentially just leaving the targeting on Ultimecia and ignoring the minion completely because it will eventually die from the splash attacks and the counter attacks from Auron. At the start, I think it's highly recommended to try to immediately go for 6 framed buffs on Auron as quickly as possible. The way I did it here is that Auron provides himself 2 framed buffs on his own. Using the Hope Call provides another 2 framed buffs in the shape of Protect and Shell. And the last 2 framed buffs, one comes from the Garnet Call, which provides Thunder Enchant framed buff on Auron, and finally the Cait Sith Call on Freya provides 1 more framed buff to make up a total of 6 frame buffs on Auron. Only Auron needs 6 frame buffs, Freya and Reno doesn't really matter because Auron will be taking all the debuffs in the entire fight. You can choose to wait a little bit further and apply the frame buffs, say around this point in time, the 70 to 80% point in time of the force gauge, but it is a little bit risky. If Auron gets confused or paralyzed early on, he won't be able to cover tank the other party members. You need to keep a close eye on the force gauge as so, because ideally what you want to go is to go to force time the moment Reno hits 100%. Unfortunately here I am a little bit off because I hit 100% force time right after Reno's turn, which really isn't ideal, and the bosses are about to hit the force time as well. Here I had Freya jump into the air because I'm about to use force time with Reno. Before she does so, I use the Cait Sith LD call for a little bit of extra oomph. On hindsight, I think the one mistake I did there is to waste 1 LD used with Freya. She could have just jumped into the air just after using 1 more additional ability right then. With Freya, I think it's probably better to save all her LD users so that you can use it during force time, but as long as you save a few, you should be for the most part fine. If you can somehow enter force time right after Ultimecia enters a force time, that is actually pretty good to have, because right here entering into force time will then allow Ultimecia to actually delete your turn, which is what you actually want with Reno's force time, because this allows you to get more enemy turns in and increase your force bonus before your next player character turn. So with force time, it's pretty straightforward here. You want to take as few turns as possible so they can stretch out your force time as long as possible. So with that, don't use Auron EX inside here because that will delay all enemies. With Reno, you can also try to time his pyramid to land it right before Ultimecia uses her recast attack Apocalypse. Also, pay close attention to the HP thresholds of Ultimecia because when she hits 79, 49 and 19%, she will turn warp and instantly use her recast attack Apocalypse. So if you can land pyramid on her right before that, then you at least get to mitigate some of the incoming damage. That being said, Freya herself serves as a pretty good safety net for this team. For one thing, she has party wide last stand, so even if you can't land pyramid, you can just tank the attack. And it shouldn't actually do a lot of damage because you have Auron in the party. And the second thing is that Freya using her lancers every turn will just heal off the HP damage that you've taken gradually over the next couple of turns. So even if you miss time pyramid, the run should still be pretty safe overall. A little bit about how geared my characters are. First off, Auron himself has a 5/5 ultimate weapon, Freya has a 1/5 ultimate weapon spear, and Reno just has his EX equipped. I actually realized after this run that all along I forgot to equip Reno's FR on himself since the debut of his FR, so I've actually been using him not very optimally. If you are extremely well geared, it is possible actually to kill off Ultimecia or come close to finishing her off in just one FR. That being said, I think this run here also showcases how much flexibility you have, because I am fairly confident that you can also do the same run or the same strategy without any ultimate weapon on Auron. It will take longer of course, but it is possible, as you'll see later. I ended up just using a second FR when Ultimecia is around, I don't know, between 10 to 19% health left. So if you are aiming for 2 FR users, all you really require is each FR bringing Ultimecia down to 50% health. So 2 FRs should kill her off. This is also the reason why I set a Charlotta friend. You can use either a Charlotta or Lunar Freya friend. The idea of the friend support is really only just to charge the force gauge, so that once you've come out of force time the first time, you can just quickly bring in your friend support and spam their S1 5 times, and you get an instant 50% to your force gauge just by doing that. So Ultimecia is already in the red, and I am about to come out the first force time, so another option here, if you don't really want to charge the force meter again, you can actually just pop your summon here and try to burn down Ultimecia until the end, which is fairly viable as well because the minion is about to die anyway, and once Ultimecia is by herself, you don't really need the 6 frame buffs on Auron anymore because the dangerous debuffs are actually from the minion. With that being said, I decided to, instead of using summon, go for the Charlotta friend because I just wanted to show how it would look like if you feel that you need to go into another FR mode. So right here, just use the Charlotta friend, use S1 5 times, and you can see your force gauge is already halfway there. So if your party is less built than this, or if you lack some of the ultimate weapons, doesn't really matter if you come out of force time at, if Ultimecia at 40 or 50% health, just quickly charge up your force gauge and pop force time again with Reno. So that's it for this run. As always, if the video has been helpful, do leave a like, comment and subscribe because it really helps a lot. Till then, I'll see you guys in the next Shinryu fight. Bye!